Hi there, David Taylor on Mr. Pelargonium, back with another video for the Pelargonium and Geranium Society. I'm back, it's the tail end of January and we've got to start thinking about stopping plants for show, so let's just get going. Well, good morning everybody on a very chilly morning here in Wiltshire. We've actually got a slightly brighter morning. The weather has been absolutely shocking, I do have to say. It's been so dull, so wet for really nearly the whole of the month. It's been really awful, to be fair. The plants are just beginning to suffer a little bit, to be quite honest. We could desperately do with some drier weather. I think it's forecast to be clear and dry tomorrow, but there's more rain forecast later on for today, and I am just starting to get a little bit sick of it now. We desperately need a good, dry, sunny spell of weather to just really dry everything up. And, you know, give the plants a chance to get a bit of light. This winter must have been one of the dullest winters I would have thought on record in the UK. It's been awful. It really has been bad, and the plants are suffering. We're getting very typical sort of light growth. If I just grab a small one here, I mean, this sort of very pale green growth. The plants are wanting to grow a little bit because when we do get a sunny day here in this very open position that I've now got, it's, you know, the plants are wanting to grow a bit. But the number of sunny days that we've had, you can barely count on the fingers of one hand, I think, during January. So it's been awful, and we desperately need some decent light. So it's been a bit of a pain, but anyway, enough of me moaning on. Now we get to February. February starts on Saturday. I'm filming this on Wednesday the 29th, I think it is today. Yes, because it's the last day of January on Friday. So that means we've actually, I mean, if you do show, and I know the majority of people watching this don't, you've got to start thinking about the stopping of your plants for the show season. Now, I often get asked what actually stopping means. All this very basically means is that you just prick out the growing tips or cut back even a little bit further if the plant is slightly misshapen to time them to flower for a certain period. In this case, the Pelargonium and Geranium Society National Show is always on the third Saturday of June. So this year it's the 21st of June. So that timing depends a little bit. For double flowering and Regal Pelargoniums, it's generally around 18 weeks. For the singles, anything single flowering, it's a little bit later, around about 16, 17 weeks for single flowering varieties. Now, obviously, you can apply this to, say, wanting your plants to flower for a specific period. Say you may have an event on in your garden or anything like that. It doesn't necessarily have to be for a show. And you can therefore stop your plants in this vein for the timing of something that you're looking to do. So on the 1st of February, it will be 20 weeks. So we're still a week or two away from the main stopping season. Now everybody knows that I've moved to here from a much more sheltered position. My previous greenhouse was in a very sheltered position and didn't get a great deal of light at all until about March. This glass house is completely different. I'm getting 5 hours of sunlight even in the midwinter here now during the day when we actually get it. I've spoken earlier about the fact that we're not getting a great deal at the moment. So that's going to make a massive difference to my stopping times. Now, anybody that follows the channel will know that I used to have to sort of trim my Regals back really around Christmas time in order to time them to flower for the show season in June. but I'm going to have to be much more conventional here and stick to around about the 18-19 week mark for my double flowering zonals and that type of plant, along with the Regals at 18 weeks. Now, you do have to obviously consider things like specific varieties flowering a little bit later, and I've got one of those, and I'm actually going to do the stopping of one of these today. And that is my lovely standard of Doris Shaw, which I'm hopeful of getting to the show this year. But I do know that Doris Shaw is notoriously late flowering for a Regal. So I'm actually going to stop that today. It's just over 20 weeks, which again is much later than I may have considered doing it at our old property. So I'm going to have a go at doing it now at 20 weeks. Be interesting to see how it goes through on that. So we'll do this together now. I can show you what I do because I've done a lot of videos on stopping plants for showing, or as I've said, stopping plants to flower for a specific time. So there are a lot of videos in the playlist there. So just have a look round and have a look at previous videos that I've done at around this time of year for that stopping. Right, let's bring him up. I've got him on a little stand there. So what you're seeing here is the top of the standard. I'll just home in so you can see me getting on with it. I have actually cleaned this up a bit. One of the minor problems with Doris Shaw is that it does attract whitefly really sort of quite badly, to be fair. So I've actually given this a really good clean up over the last couple of weeks, stripped it down, got rid of all the infected leaves, and it's looking very clean now. It's looking very clean. It's very vibrant. I think it is, has been growing a little bit. So this is the ideal plant to give a tip stop to. Right, so with this, I am not going to go much further than just taking the tips out because there are all kinds of breaks coming all along these branches, and breaks by breaks I mean like little new stems beginning to break through at the nodes. Each one of these leaf joints is potentially a node, particularly on Regals, because Regals throw a completely separate flower stem to the main stems that put the growth on. So you can see here we've got lots and lots of little side shoots already beginning to develop. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to clean my knife. And I'm just going to begin. Now, obviously, this is actually relatively nicely rounded. So I'm not going to need to shape this a great deal. I just need to keep the stops at more or less the same length. Some of these I've got, that's a slightly longer one. That's a slightly longer one that may need to go down fractionally more. So what I will generally do is go down to an inner facing node because that is what creates the ball shape. This is more or less tip stopping, but I know this one just needs a little bit more. So there we are, that's that one out. This one here needs to go down a little bit more. So I'll just take that above a node. Now obviously I have waited for this to dry out a little bit. I know the plant is quite dry and it's quite a nice sort of dry day today. So once I've done this video, the glasshouse will be opened up and these should heal off really quite quickly. This one, I'm going to go down to there, which is similar height to that one, which is what I'm wanting to do. So there we are. I will probably now just speed through this a bit now. Right, now showing you just the tippiest tip stop here. This is a very, very minor, just literally getting the tips out. Now, what you actually have to do is just peel back the stipules to get into that tip. So I'm just literally using my knife just to curl those back. Nice little white fly comes up. And so we can get in there, just deciding which way to go. So again, fold these stipules down, press them down with my finger, and that reveals the tip. And there it is. I am literally just going to put my knife in there. Only needs a little nick, barely much pressure at all, and I can just rub that tip out. And there it is. That is literally a tiny tip stop, as opposed to that one, which was a major stem cut. So it's just sort of leveling this off so that they're all in the same sort of order of length to get a good set of blooms at the same height. Right, okay then, so there we are. I mean, I'm just about done. I think I've got, well, I've just see one there, obviously facing me, that's just a bit shorter, but I'll take that one out. Now, some of the really inner tiny branches, I will just leave those to grow. I mean, if they throw bloom, it doesn't really matter, I can pick those out, but I want some of those little inner branches to grow out and catch up with the others anyway. So that's fine, but I've done every single tip. Right, so I'm just looking around to see if I've missed any. I'll probably find a few odd ones for a few days. What I normally do when I stop a plant, I will go round it for a few days after, because there's always a couple that you miss. But as I said, it is a bit of a learning curve for me this year because of the fact that I'm in this new environment. Very much a different scenario to my old one, so I've got to relearn the sort of the stopping schedules really for my plants. So there we go. That's a little look at stopping. There are, as I've said, other videos on the channel. Have a look through if you want more detailed information about the stopping regimes. But I thought I'd show something a bit different with this one because I've never shown a Regal Standard at a show before, and I'm really hopeful we're getting this Doris Shaw to the show. There's one I've missed. Now, yeah, knowing my luck, it may all backfire and it'll probably flower in May, but that's the way the cookie crumbles. But hopefully not. Hopefully I'll be able to keep it going until the show season in June. So that just about wraps this one up. Again, if you've got any questions, just put them in the comments below and I'll get back to you. I'm usually fairly prompt with answering any questions. So that's just about it from me today. So I'll see you again in the next one. Bye-bye from me for now.